Lords of the Fallen. Okay, let's get one thing straight up front, you won't see actual Dark Souls or Elden Ring on this list. Why? Well, Dark Souls is basically the granddaddy of this whole genre. And Elden Ring? It's Dark Souls but massive and open world, made by the same crew. So today, we're focusing on other games entirely. First up, let's talk about the seriously underrated Lords of the Fallen, forget the old, kinda clunky Lords of the Fallen from 2014. Yeah, it was a Soulslike, but slow. This is the full remake on Unreal Engine 5, and it completely reimagines the game. They've sped it up, aiming for something closer to Bloodborne in pace and style. The big standout feature is the dual-world mechanic. You switch between the world of the living and the world of the dead using this lantern. The living world is pretty standard, but flip to the dead world, and you see hidden paths, bridges, traps, plus really nasty creatures crawling around that chase you until you switch back. Visually, the two worlds look totally different. Combat here is actually pretty dynamic. Dodging, parrying, and chaining combos with a ton of weapons, swords, magic staves, you name it, all demand good timing. Overall, it's solid on all fronts. Early on, the optimization was rough and some areas felt overloaded with enemies, but they've patched things up nicely since then. Lies of P, alright, this one's Pinocchio. But hold up, it's not some basic fairy tale. You are Pinocchio, but not the wooden boy, you're a battle automaton in this plague-ridden city called Krat. Puppets have gone berserk, and the humans? Either already dead or about to be. The game feels very Souls-like in its level design, but it's got its own twists. The key one is the lying mechanic. In dialogues, you choose whether to lie or tell the truth, and that affects endings, quests, even the loot you get. Gather certain NPCs, like the Red Fox, and you might snag a unique gesture or weapon, but it could lock you out of another path. Combat itself? Super familiar, but honestly, that's true for pretty much everything today. Blocking, parrying, striking, it all needs perfect timing. Standard Souls stuff. Besides the regular weapons, and trust me, there are over 40 types alone, you also collect mechanical gadgets like a flamethrower or a grappling hook. These add variety to combat and sometimes even help you move around. What's really beautiful though are the locations, from grimy factories to this grand opera house. It all looks seriously impressive. Definitely worth checking out. Steelrising. Steelrising. This is kinda similar to Lies of P, but it came out earlier and ended up a bit weaker. You play as Aegis, not the one from Dota, sorry. This Aegis is a mechanical ballerina created by engineer Vaucanson. You're tearing through Paris in 1789, trying to stop the tyrant King Louis and his army of automatons. And tearing around isn't just horizontal, you can go vertical too. Use a hook to latch onto rooftops, balconies, statues, plus you've got a dash to leap chasms or dodge attacks. Yeah, kinda like Sekiro. The combat is Souls-like in the best way. Pick a style, warrior, dancer, elementalist, for example. Mix and match weapons, and use special modules like an ice grenade launcher or fiery claws to smash enemies. The game is a bit on the short side, though. And honestly, you probably won't feel like replaying it dozens of times like a core Souls game. But overall, it's pretty decent. Mortal Shell. And this is Mortal Shell. The team behind it actually just announced Mortal Shell 2. I covered that news over on GameLike. Anyway, while we wait for part 2, let's remember the first one. You wake up in this decaying world and start hunting for shells. The whole game revolves around these shells. Each one acts like a new class with unique mechanics. Wanna be a tank? Grab Aerodrome with tons of hit points. Prefer stealth? Teal's great for dodging. You switch between them to adapt to different enemies, from knights to creepy tentacled monsters. Combat is your typical Souls-like, blocking, parrying, striking, all that. But the key ability? You can harden into stone at any moment. This saves you from death blows and attacks. Think of it like your block in this game, since there are no shields here. The trick is knowing when to trigger it. Overall, it's not bad. Personally, though, I found the combat felt slow, even excessively slow, so it didn't really grab me, even though it's got a great, moody style. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Alright, now for one that really hit me right in the heart, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Good ol' Sekiro. This is where Miyazaki decided to try something fresh, and man, did it pay off. It's so fast and fluid, it's hard to compare to anything else. Quick recap, you're the one-armed wolf, a shinobi carving your way through feudal Japan to rescue your young Lord Kuro and take revenge on the clan that stole him. The standout feature: Resurrection. When you die, you can revive right on the spot to catch enemies off guard or fix a mistake. Or just bail completely if things go south. But here's the kicker, combat isn't just Souls-like, it's a nerve-wracking duel. Dodging exists, but the focus is on parrying. You break enemy posture with perfectly timed blocks and counters. Some bosses demand you parry dozens of hits in a row just to crack their defense. Fights are brutally intense and chaotic, but the payoff is insane, especially with those crisp sound effects. A total masterpiece. Nioh 2. Now this one's steeped in Japanese myth, not Chinese, just to be clear. And yeah, Nioh 3 got announced recently, but we're talking about number 2 here. You're a half-demon, shiftling, tearing through Sengoku-era Japan to purge the land of yokai, those are basically demons. You'll even bump into historical figures like Oda Nobunaga. Key mechanic: you collect soul cores from defeated yokai and transform into one of 3 demon types, each with unique attacks like hammer slams or dashes. Combat's flashy, 11 weapon types, 3 stances, and some butt-clenching difficulty make it satisfying. My personal gripe? The visuals. Something about Nioh always felt visually cluttered to me, not mechanically, just how it looks. But that's subjective, lots of people love it. The Surge 2. Honestly, everyone kinda forgot about this series. The Surge 2 is a sci-fi Souls-like where you're a survivor in a power exoskeleton, fighting through Jericho City to uncover why it's become a robot-infested nightmare. Coolest feature: limb targeting. Want a new helmet or weapon? Aim for an enemy's arm or head, chop it off, and loot the blueprint to craft it. You can also play co-op with a friend, which is a nice touch, and not the only co-op Souls-like today. You'll craft gear from severed parts, upgrading your exosuit. Load up on implants, you've got slots for around 20, giving buffs from speed boosts to poison attacks. Leveling unlocks perks like bonus damage after kill streaks. Locations loop together like a Metroid maze, spanning skyscrapers, infected parks, and hidden paths. Plus, it's one of the few proper sci-fi entries in the genre. Code Vein. Anime fans, this one's for you. It's one of the few anime-styled games where you'll suffer just like in Dark Souls. While the Surge 2 hooked you with limb chopping, here the star is the Blood Code class system. It gives insane build flexibility. Beyond that, the character creator is ridiculously deep. If you've binged your share of anime, you'll go wild making a truly unique-looking protagonist. Plus, it's heavily co-op focused. Playing with a buddy is a blast, like having one player tank while the other snipes from range. It's similar to what Elden Ring tried with seamless co-op mods, but this is built in and feels way more intentional. Don't be fooled by the aesthetic, this is legit Souls-like action. Star Wars Jedi, Survivor. Naturally, we can't miss the adventures of the ginger guy either. This continues Cal Kestis' story. He's a Jedi on the run in a galaxy where the Empire crushes anyone daring to ignite a lightsaber in the darkness. You should definitely try the first game too, by the way. I'd even say it's worth starting with it, since the overarching story is connected, and you'll need it to understand what's going on. You're still that same red-haired guy. Yeah, You're a cool Jedi surviving on the edge, dashing across the galaxy to find refuge from the Empire. The thing about being a Jedi is, you don't have a massive arsenal. You won't find 40 different weapons here. So, you have 5 distinct lightsaber combat styles: single blade, double bladed, dual wield, crossguard, and blaster stance. That's the one where you combo with a blaster, like Kylo Ren in the movies. Each style feels completely different. Dual wield is great for crowds, crossguard shines against bosses. And yeah, you definitely feel that Souls-like vibe in the combat. It's still heavily focused on parrying and timing, where you weave force powers into your attacks. Overall, it's really cool. It even has a full-fledged story, which is pretty unusual for Souls-likes. Black Myth, WuKong. Now, here's WuKong. It's completely linear, but incredibly beautiful and atmospheric. Besides the typical corridor runs from boss to boss, it has a cool feature that really sets it apart: transformations. You defeat a boss, take its spirit, and can then transform into that monster whenever you need, using its unique abilities like breathing fire or poisonous attacks. Otherwise, you feel a well-crafted and dynamic Souls-like combat system. You have 3 different staff stances, dodges, and various spells. But the real beauty here is absolutely the visual part of the game. The developers are clearly buddies with Unreal Engine 5, and they deliver stunning forests, deserts, and especially temples that look like living paintings. The first Berserker Khazan. Next up is the relatively new Khazan Souls game that came out this year. It's a bit anime-inspired visually, but very brutal and satisfying in its combat. We play as Khazan himself, by the way, who was betrayed and exiled to a frozen wasteland. The guy wasn't about to die from the cold, he tasted some heroic power, well, maybe a bit demonic too, and survived. Now he's out for revenge. And you also kind of whisper advice to him, telling him what to do. You'll help him collect enemy souls to upgrade 3 different branches that give bonuses like enhanced parries or combo attacks. You choose your weapon, break enemy stances through parries and dodges, and then just unleash hell to the left and right. It's visually quite beautiful, so if you haven't played it, it's worth checking out. AI Limit. Finally, here's AI Limit. It's a bleak odyssey in a world where humanity has fallen. You play as Orisa, a lone warrior searching for answers among ruins and monsters. It has a bit of an anime vibe too, yeah. Well, the key mechanic here is time. You need to collect energy from enemies to either slow down time for precise dodges or speed it up for devastating attacks. It's like you got a remote control for reality. Slow down to dodge a boss's strike, or speed up to smash that boss into splinters. It's a very cool tool. The key is knowing how and when to use it. Naturally, besides this, there's also various crafting, a progression system, and quite a lot of different enemies, so it's all pretty good. And you definitely feel that Chinese motif throughout. It's not WuKong level, of course, but the game doesn't really pretend to be. No rest for the wicked. No rest for the wicked. This game was pretty bare bones at launch, but right now, it's absolutely blossoming. It's the first and only isometric Souls-like that doesn't feel like a low-budget roguelike. It's clearly made by developers who know exactly what they're doing. The isometric perspective makes combat feel totally fresh. Yeah, you've got parrying, dodging, tight timing windows, the whole Souls package. Plus, there's a massive grind factor thanks to the loot system, giving you hundreds of combinations, from rare armor sets to buffed up rings. It feels like playing Diablo, just way harder. Naturally, before tackling all that, you head back to the hub area, where you jump out to fast travel points. These points are actually connected in the game world, and there are even quests that help guide you on exactly where to head next. And honestly, the story is genuinely great. Then there's the visual style. Just look at it. Especially those cutscenes. It's a straight-up masterpiece. Rise of the Ronin. Finally, let's talk about something that's, well, a mixed bag. Rise of the Ronin. It totally fumbled the launch when it first came out, but they've been patching things up. It's definitely more playable now. But even today, the reviews are still mixed, so don't expect a masterpiece here. Besides the SOSO optimization, the graphics feel dated, like something from the PlayStation 3 era. Even the semi-open world they built feels pretty bland. But that's the bad stuff. On the plus side, it's got cool storylines and interesting characters. The NPCs are definitely caricatures, but somehow they still feel human. And it's actually really enjoyable watching them in the cutscenes. Plus, the story itself has a lot of branching paths. It hooks you like a good movie. The biggest strength, though, is the combat. It's a bit like Assassin's Creed, but mostly like Sekiro. Parrying here is even tougher because regular enemies and bosses constantly throw out wild, unpredictable combos. The crazy thing is, they often break their own attack timing, which completely breaks your rhythm. If you play on hard difficulty, which you can choose, thankfully, bosses and even tougher enemies will absolutely rip you a new one. Otherwise, it's a decent trip through Japan. Alright, that's all for today.